Are you scared of losing your doctor? Have you ever thought to yourself, what if my doctor won't accept my insurance? How do I know if my doctor works with this medical group? How do I even know if I have a good doctor? And if you don't have a doctor, how do you find one? We're going to go over all these things in this video. My name is Franco Quevedo. I'm with South Coast Medicare, and these are questions and concerns we hear all the time. So I decided to make this video for anyone watching to get empowered and to get the answers for yourself immediately. This is not rocket science. It should be very simple to find out who your doctor is, how to find a doctor, see if they work with a medical group. So I'm going to show you all the tools to do this for yourself and get answers today and not be lost in a sea of 1-800 numbers and insurance companies and marketing propaganda drivel. No, straight to the source, find the doctor, find out where the clinic is, and much more. So let's get into it. And by the way, this is for medical doctors, specialists, cardiologists, not witch doctors, not shamans, not alternative therapy. Some of that's very good, but the insurance usually doesn't cover a lot of those doctors yet here in 2021. So let's get into it here. All right, so here's the things we're going to go over. Types of doctors, right? General doctors, physicians, specialists, okay? And factors to consider when picking a primary doctor if you don't have one, or if you want to switch doctors. You're never really locked into one doctor for life. You can always switch your doctor. Sometimes people don't realize that. Okay, number 3, how to find and research these doctors. Very important. And then we're going to go over a quick summary of how doctors' offices work with the health insurance plans, right? Some of the back office things that most people don't see, don't realize. We're going to dig into that, okay? So these are the factors to consider when choosing your doctor. Number 1, insurance, right? That's the biggest question. Will they work with your insurance? And guess what? Most doctors do. Why? Because that's how they make money. They want to work with your insurance. Where people run into problems is the medical groups, the networks and medical groups. Let's see if I can highlight that here. And these medical groups, they don't necessarily have direct contact with patients a lot of the time, but they're the ones responsible for a lot of the authorizations. It's not the actual insurance company, it's the medical group. That's where the doctor does a lot of their billing. So we're going to go over that. And there's a way where you can see all the medical groups that your doctor is affiliated with. Sometimes a doctor is affiliated with 1 or 2 medical groups. Sometimes they're affiliated with 20. And you can go see any specialist from there, okay? Another factor, number 2, is the location or convenience of the doctor's office you want to go to. That makes a big difference, right? Are you seeing the small strip mall doctor in the wrong side of town, or are you in the nice facility, the clinic where they have everything? That's somewhere I'd like to go, somewhere new and nice and clean and offering a lot of services, so you don't have to drive all over town for blood exams and all that nonsense. Just get it over with in one day. I like that. Number 3, the size and scope of a doctor's office, right? Same concept. Number 4, convenience of scheduling, right? So is your doctor booked for the next 2 to 3 months, or can they see you in a week or 2 weeks? I'm going to show you an easy way to figure that out and see that for yourself and not necessarily be surprised and be left with no choice than to wait for 3 months for a basic physical. Okay, we're going to go over online reviews. These days, doctors get reviewed online, so you can avoid the bad ones, see what people say about them. Okay, and then last but not least, do you actually like the doctor? Do you like the clinic? Right, that's important too. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so types of doctors. First of all, depending on your insurance, some types of Medicare insurance make you pick a primary care doctor. If you're with a Medicare Advantage plan, you have to actually choose a primary care doctor. You can change that doctor once a month, but you always have to have a primary care doctor. With a Medicare supplement plan, like a Plan G or Plan F, Plan N, you don't necessarily have to pick a primary care doctor. You can have a doctor that you always go to, a main physician, but you don't have to register them with the insurance company if you're on a supplement plan. But either way, how do you find that doctor? Let's look into that. So we're going to start with primary care doctors. And let's get into it. So there's many online tools to find doctors. They have complicated websites, and sometimes they change the links, and they don't make it too simple. So to make it simple for myself and for my clients and for you, I just put the direct links on my website on one page. So go to southcoastmedicare.com. Okay, southcoastmedicare.com. That's my website. And there you go. Nice big button. Look at these beautiful doctors here. And we got a nice big button. Find a doctor. Click on that button. Okay. And these are the largest carriers that we work with, the big insurance companies. We work with others too, but I like their doctor finder tools. I like United Healthcare is the best. United Healthcare is just good. Blue Shields is good too. Scan is good. But United Healthcare is one of the few that offer, they have the ratings. They have the actual star rating, so you can see if a doctor is 1 star versus 5 star. I'll show you in just a sec. So click the link, United Healthcare. Even if you don't have United Healthcare, I would recommend using their tool to find your doctor, because it's a good tool. And you'll be able to get the same information, right? So once you click United Healthcare here, it brings you to this page. Find a doctor. It's got all these buttons. Oh my gosh. You don't have to sign in. Just scroll down and click here, General Provider Search. We'll go here. We will go to Medicare plans. Medicare plans. This is if you have Medicare, folks. So you're 65 years old and older, or you're disabled if you're under 65. Click here, Medicare plans, and enter your zip code. I'm going to put my old zip code in Los Angeles, 90045. These are the different plans that United Healthcare offers, the AARP plans. And you don't have to pick one if you're unfamiliar yet. Just put no preference. And we are going to look for people, doctors. Click here. And here's where we can finally determine what type of doctor we're looking for. If you're looking for a physician, a family doctor, a general doctor, that's going to be right here under primary care. If you're looking for a specialist, it's going to be under specialty care, a dermatologist, cardiologist, right? Oncologist, pulmonologist, surgeons. Those will all be here under specialty care. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a sec. So primary care, we're going to click here. All the primary care providers. And here's what we got. Within 20 miles of this zip code, I would have the option of 4,000 primary care doctors. Oh my gosh, how are you going to pick one? That's a lot of doctors, right? So here's how I like to narrow it down. Obviously, you want a good doctor, right? So let's start over here on the right side where it says sort results by distance. I don't care about that too much. I'm more interested in the highest patient rating. I want the best doctor. So click that. Highest patient rating. And there we go. So let's go back where it was distance. So you can see before and after. Before, we have on the top here, Elizabeth Sander. Dr. Elizabeth Sander. She has 2 5-star reviews, which is good. Not bad, right? But look what happens when I click highest patient rating. Dr. Emil Avanes, 273 5-star reviews. Wow. Very highly rated doctor. One thing to consider, if he's got this many reviews and he's that popular in demand, that means it might take a long time to see him. He's got a lot of patients. He's good. They want to see him. So that might be the only issue with finding the best doctors. They're in the high demand, right? Because they're the best. A lot of people want to be with good doctors. So, but that's not a bad thing. So one easy way to determine if they're too booked out, just call. Call the number right here, 818-369. That's his office. And say, hey, when's the next appointment I can see Dr. Ivanis? And they'll let you know. Now let's look up Dr. Ivanis' office, right? 273 reviews, 5 stars, but I like to see things. I want to get a feel for who this doctor is, what his office is like. Let's also click his name. Click his name here. Let's dig into Dr. Ivanis. Urgent care medicine, internal medicine. That's basically a general doctor. And here are all the plans that he works with United Healthcare. He works with all the plans, basically. Okay. And look, accepting all patients. And here, these are the medical groups. This is the network. Whenever you hear in-network, out-of-network, they're talking about medical group networks. That's what these are right here. Lakeside Medical Group. Regal Medical Group. Regal Medical Group. So he's got about 2 groups that he works with. Not too many medical groups. Okay. That's how you know if the specialist you want to see is in-network. If your primary care doctor, say for example it's this one, Emil Ivanis, is your primary care doctor and he's with Regal, you go look up the specialist that you want to see, that was recommended to you by someone or whomever. Look up their name, and if it also says Regal, he's in network. Simple as that. That's how you know. If you're in a Medicare supplement plan, like Plan G, Plan N, Plan F, other letters, you don't have to worry about networks. This is for Medicare Advantage mostly. Okay? HMOs. With HMOs, you got to worry. You have to look at the networks. You don't have to worry. Don't worry about anything. There's answers to all this. So those are his networks, his medical groups. Let's look at his location. He's got a couple locations. They're all in Glendale. It's a little bit too far for my taste, right? Almost 20 miles away. But let's look it up. So I go to Google Maps. Google Maps. If you're unfamiliar with Google Maps, it's just a mapping software on Google. And I copy pasted his address that he had listed. And I'm going to search. I'm going to search his office because I want to see it. Maybe see how far it would take me to get there. He's got a picture of the ocean here. That's interesting. And on Google, he has 323 reviews. That's a lot of reviews. Okay. Now, if you're familiar with LA, he's basically on the other side of town. From my old zip code, I would not pick him as my primary. And look at this. He's in a tiny little place. Right. Okay, let's see. Let's get the Google Street View. And look at that. It's a little strip mall. It looks pleasant. It looks quaint. Nothing wrong with that. If I lived right here, sure, walk across the street, no problem. I'd go see Dr. Emil. But in this scenario, I'm living on the west side of Los Angeles. I would not drive all the way across town to go see Dr. Ivanis in this little strip mall. So you can't even see the sign, but he's somewhere in there. Okay, so that's how you figure out these things. Let's scratch him off the list of the doctor that I would be picking. So let's go back to our United Healthcare search tool and let's reduce the distance. Let's say within 5 miles instead of 20, within 5. Look how that narrows it down. We went from 4,000 to 386 doctors. Still a lot, but much easier to go through than 4,000. And it's still sorted by the highest patient rating. Now, say, for example, if you speak a certain language or you want to speak your first language, you can select a doctor by languages. Farsi, Hindi. There's great Indian doctors out there. Spanish. Sometimes these doctors don't necessarily speak the language, but they have assistants on staff, physician assistants or internists that do speak the language. Okay, lots of languages here. So let's see, different doctors we got here. Shendrikar, that actually used to be my mom's doctor. She's in Marina Del Rey now. She used to be in Santa Monica. Oh, let's see. So when people say, "Oh my gosh, are they going to take away my doctor?" It's usually because the doctor left the location or they changed their medical group, right? So Dr. Shendrikar here is only working with this plan, accepting existing patients only. But I just want to take a quick peek at her office. Let's take a look at her office, her new office. Go back to Google Maps, copy paste the address, type it in there, paste it in there, the Google map, and she's right in Marina Del Rey, a lot closer to my side of town, more convenient, next to Cedars-Sinai Marina Del Rey Hospital. Used to have a different name, Daniel Freeman Hospital, I think. Okay, yeah, I know this building, driven by it thousands of times. I think UCLA took over this building now. Yep, UCLA Health. So that means she's in the UCLA network. Let's look at her again. Let's see her network. Oh, it's not showing. Okay. Overview, locations. There we go. If her website says UCLA, that means she's in the UCLA network. And if you scroll down, we clicked overview here and it shows some of her hospital affiliations. It won't always show all the hospitals. It says Providence St. John's, that's in Santa Monica, St. John's Hospital. And if she says UCLA, she's definitely affiliated with UCLA, so that means Ronald Reagan Hospital also. Locations. So yeah, this would be somewhere I would go. If you're unfamiliar, UCLA is one of the top medical colleges in the country, in the world. Not a bad place. UCLA, they have an urgent care center in there. Urgent care is basically a medical outpost clinic that's open usually 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Say you made a doctor's appointment and they booked you for 2 months out, but you got to see a doctor today, you're feeling bad, go to urgent care. Unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, go to the hospital. Absolutely. At urgent care centers, they can give you temporary prescriptions if you ran out and you need your prescription right away. Go to urgent care. So look at this beautiful location. Got the marina across the street. I feel better already. Okay, let's look at some more doctors. So she would be one option, for example. Unless I'm not an existing patient. Oh my gosh, I want to see her. Oh, we got to pick someone else. You can also just call and see other doctors at that location that are accepting patients. That's also an option. So all of this kind of involves a little bit of research, a little bit of work, as you can tell. Thomas Kevin, Western Avenue. Playa Vista. I remember Playa Vista when it was just a pile of dirt, the wetlands. So that means it's a nice new building. Let's look at Dr. Tyre. She is with Cedars-Sinai Medical Group. Cedars-Sinai is top 1 to 2 hospitals in the entire region. They're in Beverly Hills, so that's a great medical group. Five stars, 20 reviews. Let's look at that office. Playa Vista. Playa Vista is right north of Westchester, south of Marina Del Rey. Boop. She's next to Whole Foods. Yoga works. So that's nice. Okay, let's look in here. This is a big building, so she's probably somewhere in there. That's the parking lot. Cedars-Sinai. So they have an office in there. It's somewhere in there. You got a nice big parking structure. I think it was paid parking at this structure. So hopefully your doctor's office validates. All things to consider, right? When picking a doctor. All things to consider. Cedars-Sinai, there we go. She's right in there. Look at that. Beautiful new building. And you're in a mall. Beautiful pedestrian shopping area. Playa Vista. Great place if you haven't been there. That's nice. That's convenient. That's a nice place. So this is the United Healthcare Doctor Finder tool. So it takes a little bit of digging, a little bit of research, but in a few minutes you can find a lot of answers, right? So I'm just looking up doctors by their reviews. If you have the name of a doctor that you know, just type it in right here. So I'll do one as an example. We'll go within 100 miles and we'll put Dr. Nicole. Dr. Nicole. What was her last name? Brooke LaDuca. She's in Long Beach. Way. Brooke LaDuca. Great doctor down in Long Beach. 5 stars, only 2 reviews. Most of the time, this means that they're just not asking their patients to give them reviews. There's great doctors out there, and the practice doesn't do that. So that's also something to keep in mind, right? Doesn't mean they're a bad doctor. Also, many times when you see low stars, low reviews, it's not necessarily because of the doctor. Sometimes you see it in the comments. They say, I love the doctor's great, but the office staff is terrible. They double booked me. They forgot my appointment. They never called back. They never followed up. So sometimes these doctors, they own their own practice and they're like mad doctors, mad scientists. They're great at their craft, but they're terrible at running a practice and a little disorganized. So that's where a lot of the frustration from patients comes from. So also something to consider. But, at least this helps, right? Helps you avoid that. So Brooke LaDuca overview. She's in Long Beach. Phone number. There it is. Provider group. Memorial Care Medical Group. Great group out here in LA County. So that group, they're affiliated with Long Beach Memorial, Orange Coast Memorial, all the Memorial hospitals, Torrance Memorial. There's her locations, Memorial Care Medical Group. Let's pull up her address, her location. You're going to see it. She's right next to Long Beach Memorial Hospital, which is great. That means you got everything right there. You have the hospital, you have the MRI machine, all the diagnostics if needed. It's all right there. Look at that. Long Beach Medical Center, Long Beach Memorial Hospital. She is right next to it here. There we go. So there's the hospital, but here's the doctor's offices right outside. Pay for parking. At least they have parking. Convenient parking right there. And since we know she's with Memorial Care, you can also look up their website, do a little research, get some more information if you want more information. Sometimes it won't be listed here, but Memorial Care is a big medical group out here, so I'll just type it in, Memorial Care. There we go. Long Beach Hospital, Memorial Care. memorialcare.org, locations, tons of locations. You can find a provider too. If you know you want to be with Memorial Care, you can just go straight to their website, look for the providers. And then you would just match it to whichever insurance you're with to make sure everything's kosher, make sure they're in the network. Make sure they're accepting patients too. Uh, and there she is. That's always nice, right? See a picture of your doctor. You want to see what your doctor looks like. You don't want a ghost doctor necessarily. And they got other doctors here too. You can look up your doctors. Filter results. Who's accepting new patients? Okay. So that's great. You know, so I always try and direct my clients to nice clinics like Memorial Care, right? Where everything's there, where they have an urgent care center, where there's a doctor always on call 24/7. You know, just makes everything easier. It keeps everybody happy. This is Facey in Mission Hills, San Fernando Valley. Look at that. It looks like a country club or a hotel. It looks gorgeous. These are things that matter to some people, so that makes a big difference. So as you can see, this involves a little bit of internet research when you're finding your doctor, right? When you're looking for a primary care doctor or a specialist. So we can go back here to United Healthcare. We'll exit out of the pop-up and we'll look for a specialist this time. So go back to general provider search. If you want to start from the beginning, you go to our website, southcoastmedicare.com, southcoastmedicare.com. Click the Find a Doctor button. Click United Healthcare or any of these. But United Healthcare has a good doctor finding tool. General provider search. Click that. Medical directory. Medicare plans where it says 65 plus. Put your zip code. No preference for plan. People. And now we're going to click specialty care. We already looked at the primary care doctors. And now I'm going to show you what specialty care looks like. You know, cardiologists, oncologists. Let's look at specialty care. Which type of specialists? It has them listed by alphabetically. Acupuncturist. Let's go to the B's. What do we have for B? Nothing in B. C, cardiologist, cardiac surgeon, cardiovascular surgeon, chiropractors, gastroenterologist, geriatrician, gynecologist, infectious disease doctors, all the specialists, naturopathy, neurosurgeon. Let's look for a neurosurgeon. Brain surgeons, that's what that is. 203 brain surgeons. That's a lot of brain surgeons. And right off the bat, we have a very highly rated one. And let's see, by highest patient rating. 70 reviews, Long Beach, Azadeh Farin, neurological surgery. Walavan Siva Kumar, 43 reviews, Santa Monica. Interesting. Interesting names, some of these doctors. So here we can see the networks. So if you know your exact plan name, click on your plan name, focus. That's one of the most popular AARP plans here. So we'll look at just the focus plan. And here are the networks. St. John's Physicians Partners, Optum Care Network. There's different sub networks within Optum, But as long as you're in any of the Optum networks, you have access to all Optum. St. John's again. And Optum's a big network. So sometimes with certain networks, they're at a certain office. With Optum, he's at the Torrance office. With St. John's, he's at the Santa Monica office. It looks like he also accepts St. John's, but at a different Torrance office. He's got 2 Torrance offices. Sometimes the doctors are strict about the office you can see them at according to your plan. Sometimes they're very lenient. As long as you're assigned to them, it doesn't matter which office you see them at. It's up to them. It's not up to the insurance. It's up to their office and how they bill. And if you've been with them a long time, they'll accommodate you. So let's look at their Santa Monica office, just out of curiosity. Copy paste that address, put it into Google Maps. And there we go. What street is this? Santa Monica Boulevard. Oh, we've got a picture right there of the outside. Okay. Santa Monica Boulevard. There's St. John's Hospital. John Wayne Cancer Institute. 2200. So he was at 2200 Santa Monica Boulevard. So he's right in there. Right across the street from St. John's. Very cool. So that's using the United Healthcare Finder tool. Okay, and Google Maps. I always use Google Maps. Here is another website. If you don't want to go through the United Healthcare tool or any of these tools, you can go to healthgrades.com. United Healthcare actually uses healthgrades.com for the reviews, but they only have the stars. You don't see the written reviews. So let's look up some of the doctors we were looking at earlier. Emil Avanes, I believe. What was his name? Emil Avanes. There we go. It says he's an internist here, but with 300 reviews, I don't think he's an internist. He's there we go, internal medicine. That's a picture of him. That's a lot of reviews for any doctor. 273 ratings, that's huge. So let's look at what they're saying. He was in that small strip mall location, but people seem to be very happy with him. I only have great things to say about Dr. Avanes and his staff. Everyone is very accommodating. They make me feel like I'm important, and they're doing everything in their power to satisfy my needs. They don't rush me. They listen carefully and even repeat what I told them to make sure the information they got is accurate. What a great review. Maybe you do want to drive 20 miles. Maybe you want to try them out for a month. You can do that. Try them out. Go for a visit. If you're with a Medicare Advantage plan and HMO, just remember you have to be assigned to them. But you can assign to them for 1 month if you want and switch out the next if the location's too far or you want to try a different doctor. The best primary care doctor I ever had in the past 20 years. Highly recommend them. So these are great reviews. Dr. Vanas and his staff are great. So these are great reviews. There's other good doctors out there. They don't all have 200 reviews. Obviously, this is a small business practice, and they're, on the forefront of asking for reviews from their patients. So this doctor here, she has 2 ratings. Does that mean she's a bad doctor necessarily? Maybe. Let's find out. Let's see what they say. Internal medicine specialist in Burbank, California, affiliated with Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. Only good doctors work out of there, but let's see if anybody said anything. Whoa, this doctor is an embarrassment. She's too incompetent to drain. Oh my gosh, that's a bit vulgar. If you've ever used Yelp, one thing to keep in mind is the people who are the most disappointed are the one who write the reviews. Like happy people, usually they're happy. They won't write a review about a restaurant. They just keep going on their way. So take some of these reviews with a grain of salt. Sorry, I didn't know they allowed things like that to be said. And then here we have a 4-star reviews. She listens, she checks everything in detail, very easy to talk to. Seems very nice. Some wild reviews out there. Okay, okay. So, I'll let you decide. And she's out in the San Fernando Valley. There's her location. Right next to Bob's Big Boy. Okay. Get a burger after your appointment. Okay, so health grades, they have a lot of doctors on here. So just go to healthgrades.com, type in the name of the doctor, or you can just comb through different doctors. Find doctors by specialty, internal medicine. Dentistry is a different topic altogether. I'm going to make a different video about dentists because they're living in the Wild West. Everything's different, and they're a little bit unregulated compared to doctors. So this is just about doctors for now, general doctors. Another website to use is ZocDoc. I don't use that too much. It's ZocDoc.com. The cool thing about their website is you can schedule appointments through it. Very convenient. Very convenient. You can also see which doctors have availability within a week or a month. That is half the battle when you're trying to make an appointment, right? Instead of calling in, usually a lot of doctor's offices you call in, you have to press 2, then you press 1, and then press 3 to speak with somebody. They put you on hold, and a lot of people get frustrated with that. It gets a little frustrating. So let's try and use ZocDoc. Let's go back to Brooklyn Duca. I just remember that name easily. Easy to remember, but she's not showing up here. Also, many doctors, they have to pay to use ZocDoc. So only the ones who pay for this service show up here. Something to keep in mind. Health grades, they don't have to pay. They just show up, right? They do have a paid option where they get promoted. You know, if doctors need patients, they'll show up down here. But with ZocDoc, all the doctors have to pay to be on it and get connected with their schedules. But look at these doctors. You have an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and look at his availability. This week, 10 a.m., 10:45, 11:30. That's great. Let's go back to the famous Emil Avanes. Avanes. Highly rated doctor we're looking at. He might not even show up here. Let's see. See, he's not showing up. Emil. Yeah, he's not showing up. He's not signed up with them probably. So let's look at the other doctor we're looking at, Shendrikar. She's also not showing up. See? So that's why we don't use ZocDoc too much. It's limited. It doesn't show every doctor. And it's a different type of tool. It can help with certain things. You know, if you already have your doctor picked out, you can come in here, type their name, and it's an easy way of making an appointment. But if you're looking for a doctor from scratch, this is not going to show you all the doctors. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend ZocDoc tool only using this, but it is helpful as well. Okay. So we're looking at the types of doctors, primary care doctors, specialists, factors to consider when picking a primary care doctor. We looked at their medical groups. We looked at their location on Google Maps. We looked at the clinics, right? You get to see the clinic. Is it a strip mall doctor, or is it a large clinic with lots of primary care doctors, specialists, facilities, equipment, labs, so they can do the blood work there. You're not driving somewhere else, okay? Reviews, take them with a grain of salt. Remember that, but they do help. And lastly, do you like them? Usually, you got to meet them first to see if you like them, see if you like their office, okay? So, the websites for researching doctors here at South Coast Medicare. I help my patients, my clients with Medicare doctors. Okay, so go to South Coast Medicare. if you're looking at Medicare, and that's where I have the links to the Doctor Finder tools. You can also go to healthgrades.com. You can also go to ZocDoc. ZocDoc isn't as helpful. Just keep that in mind. It doesn't show all the doctors, right? Only the ones who are signed up and paying for the ZocDoc service. But it's nice because you can see their availability and their appointment availability. Okay. And last points on, does your doctor's office work with health insurance plans? If you have Medicare Advantage, you have to be assigned a doctor, primary care doctor, and that's what we were looking at, how to figure out if your primary care doctor works with your health insurance, which medical groups they have, which medical group you want to pick, okay? And if that medical group is affiliated with specialists you might already be seeing, okay? So if it's Optum, for example, make sure your primary care doctor works with Optum and your specialist works with Optum. Or if it's another group, just make sure they both work with the group. In the odd case that your primary care doctor doesn't work with any of the groups that your specialist might have available, sometimes you can get an authorization. And if you don't get an authorization the first time, you can make an appeal to the insurance and the medical group. And many times I've seen them grant the authorizations to see the specialist, especially if you've been with that specialist for a long time. Especially then, they'll grant it. It's not hard to do. If you need help with any of this, go to my website, southcoastmedicare.com. Click on the link to book a consultation. You can speak with me directly. It doesn't cost anything, and I'll help you do this. If this seems too much work for you, or if you want a second opinion just to make sure you're doing it the right way, just book a call. It's no problem at all. Okay? If you have a Medicare supplement plan, Plan G, Plan F, Plan N, Plan K, Plan L, nobody has those, but some people do. Any of those plans, Medicare supplement plans, you do not have an assigned primary care doctor with the insurance company. You go everywhere you want to go. If you decide to see your specialist for all your prescriptions and most of your doctor stuff, and if he does that for you, go straight there. You just have to make an appointment to any doctor that accepts Medicare, and guess what? Most of them do. Okay. And let's see. The sun is getting into my eyes, so that about wraps it up today. This was a summary video on how to find a doctor. If you need help, go to my website, southcoastmedicare.com, click the link, book a call with me, and I can absolutely help you with this. I hope. Leave a comment below. There should be a link somewhere here also to book a call with me. If you thought this video was helpful, let me know. If you have other questions or need help, leave a comment. Let me know what you need help with, and I'll try and make videos on that too. See you, everybody. Have a great day.